Okay, this meeting of the Rock Hard Caucus is called to order. I forgot to look up the episode number. Are we on 28 or 29? Does anyone know?
If anyone knows, it's going to be you, so.
Right. This is either episode 28 or 29. I'm Justin. I'm here with my usual friends, Evan and Natalie. And today, we're... So last time, we brought up Rita Hart, who's running for Congress to replace Dave Loebsack. We discussed one of the Republicans involved in the primary for that same seat.
The Swamp Fox.
Yes, exactly. Rick Phillips, the Swamp Fox. I have emailed him since we released that episode, but I haven't heard back. But when we were discussing it, shamefully, none of us really know anything about Rita Hart, other than that she was Fred Hubbell's running mate in the 2018 gubernatorial race. So today we're going to be rectifying that. I've done probably more research on Rita Hart than any other person on Earth, which constituted about an hour to 2 hours of research.
Someone on her campaign team is very happy about that.
Yeah.
Got the SEO optimization.
They're not going to be, but but what better way to dig into Rita Hart and her political career than to bring on her very own daughter, friend of the show, Stella Hart.
Greetings, everyone. I may be but a simple farmer, teacher, politician's daughter, but I have no qualms about talking shit about my mom. I'm a very ungrateful daughter. Natalie, this is a preview of when Scout goes on some libertarian podcast in like 2050 and talks shit about you. Very excited to be here on the pod.
Welcome back. We're also, this is also fulfilling the prophecy. Last episode, Evan said that we should have Stella back on the show, and here she is. We did it. Promise is
Evan
kept.
said Stella was the funniest one, and so she's trying to elbow in on my resident girl. Bullshit. Just because
By
she's
special
funnier.
request.
Simply by being funnier and smarter, she thinks she can just come in here.
No.
Well, this is another, fact about the Rock Hard Caucus podcast. It's one of the few podcasts where more than one woman is on at a time. That's also a joke I stole from Stella.
Yeah, I think this is the first even gender ratio episode.
Maybe.
I think so too. No wonder it feels so weird. All it took was some nepotism. My mom Rita had to pull a couple strings, and here I am.
You're leveraging your politician mom in order to get on a local political podcast.
It takes some balls, so thank you for joining us.
Do we want to keep the mom bit running for the whole episode, or should we, is it going to be, are we opening ourselves up to legal trouble if we pretend Stella is Rita's daughter the whole time?
I would hope it'd be obvious at this point, but...
If I see any windows where I can insert a good mom joke, I'm going to go for it. But
Yes, good.
you guys don't feel obligated to keep up the pretense.
Okay. Okay, so let's go in on Rita Hart. I want to preface this by saying I'm pretty much only going to be bringing up negatives, and I'm not doing this to tell anybody not to vote for her. What we know of the Republican primary, her opponents will only be worse than her. The Swamp Fox, who we discussed, is openly racist and Islamophobic. We certainly would rather Rita Hart be in Congress than him. And what's the other guy's name? Bobby Schilling? Is that right?
Sounds right.
Okay.
I mean, Bobby Schilling.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's a little on the nose.
Yeah.
I think Bobby Schilling is the favorite to win the 2nd District Republican primary. He's been endorsed by Rick Santorum.
Yeah,
That's any indication.
Real heavy hitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heavy hitting endorsement.
So I think, we'd probably be better off with Rita Hart in Congress than anyone running for the Republican nomination for the same seat. That said, don't expect much from Rita. All right, so she was a state senator representing District 49 from 2013 through 2019. She chose not to run for re-election in 2018 so that she could run on the ticket with Fred Hubble, as we've already mentioned. That went well for her. But here we go. Her 2012 election, she defeated Republican Andrew Nave, Naeve. She beat him by about 3,000 votes. It was 54% to 45%. Let's see, District 49 is Ottumwa, I think. I think that's the area where that is.
No idea.
I have no fucking clue. I know I read this somewhere. I think it's Ottumwa.
But that Nave guy is basically my alter ego, because his name is my name backwards.
His name is my name, too. But yeah, that was a gain for the Democrats in 2012 in the Iowa Senate. She then ran for re-election in 2014. She was the incumbent, and she beat Brian Schmidt by less than 1,000 votes. That was a much closer election, 52% to 48%. I'm sure everyone remembers the 2014 elections. Not great for the Democrats overall, but she managed to hang on to her seat. I believe Iowa Senate terms are 6 years, and so her 2012 election was a result of some redistricting, I believe, which is why she only served 2 years and then had to run again. But let's look at some of her career in the Iowa State Senate. So I'm looking at votesmart.org, which handily puts together like what different interest groups thought of her and like how she voted on certain hot button issues. Okay, first off, I've got some ACLU scorecards. So in 2014, the ACLU gave her a 67% approval. I don't know if you guys are familiar with like how the interest group scorecards work, but they basically select like a few different legislative votes and judge each member of Congress, whether they voted the way that the group wanted or not, and then that's how you come up with the percentage at the end. So our friend Rita, she got a 67%.
She got a solid D. Solid D.
Yeah. Doing
really good.
Doing great.
D's get degrees, baby.
That's right.
Do they?
Well, they keep you in the Iowa State Senate for another couple of years, so that's...
Yeah, there you go.
Getting a D from the ACLU is that's a passing grade for remaining
a radical
in the Senate.
left-wing organization that has no right-wing representation whatsoever.
But the reason that she was scored so low is because she voted yes on Senate File 2318 and House File 527. All right, off the top of your heads, anybody remember those?
No.
Sorry, I've got like a million tabs open, so there's going to be a little bit of dead air between things while I consult my notes.
Well, you're kind of answering a question I had, which was like, how the hell did you find any information about her? So it makes sense that you have to like actually go to her record and look at the actual votes. Because I had a hell of a time like doing a little bit of cursory research, trying to figure out like, what does she believe? What are her positions on anything? And I really couldn't find anything, just like very general, sort of liberal, talking points. So that's probably by design, though. Like, if she's bland enough and general enough, she can
you can just
squeak
get
in office. Yeah.
any college intern to just, like, regurgitate a bunch of Bernie Sanders-ish talking points and like, basic positions.
Did you happen to look at her campaign website? I think Natalie did. I remember her talking about it.
Yeah, there's
I did
nothing.
too. It sucks.
It sucks so bad. There's absolutely
There's, like,
nothing on it.
Yeah, it's totally nothing. It's empty. The Swamp Fox has a better campaign website. Oh, I forgot I was going to look at her contributions. Real quick, top contributors are University of Iowa with $38,000.
Wait, what? I didn't know Iowa could give a political candidate money. Am I just really naive?
I don't know. I mean, I think this is a contribution from the university itself. Yeah.
Huh.
Or is it like pooled like contributions from employees of the university or something?
Oh, like they elect or opt into it or something.
Well, I don't know because
Not
on
sure.
the same list is like Emily's list. So
Yeah.
I would assume if it was like a contribution from employees of the university, that would be a separate list. I don't know.
Yeah.
University of Iowa, Essex Meadows. Anybody know what that is?
No.
No, it
No.
sounds cool though.
Sounds like a nursing home.
Sounds like a theme park in like England.
I Googled it because I didn't know what it was either, and I think Stella's right. The only Essex Meadows I can find is a senior living center in Essex, Connecticut. That's the only Essex Meadows that I can find.
Oh, it looks like there is a property company, a property management company in Des Moines called Essex Meadows Properties.
That makes a lot more sense. I'm going to say that one's probably it.
Oh, wait. I think we're both right. I think
Oh.
Essex Meadows is I found an article here that says they've acquired a senior living chain.
Oh my god, a senior living chain.
Oh,
That's
franchise.
so ominous. That's so fucking ominous.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, that's fucking dark.
Well, anyway, they contributed $25,000 to Rita's campaigns.
Myrtle's pension straight to Rita Hart.
Proctor Lane Investments, Emily's List, Centerbridge Partners.
Okay, what is Emily's List?
Isn't it for like professionals? Like
Is that where like plumber reviews? It
Oh,
sounds
you
like
guys-
so.
You guys are thinking of Angie's List.
Oh, you're right. You're totally right.
Emily's List, I think, is trying to get women politicians into
Yeah.
office.
There's
Yeah,
so many
there's like
dang
a pack.
lists.
Yeah. Do you guys know about Craigslist?
You guys already covered that one.
Quick plug, if you haven't yet, check out the most recent episode of The Toxic Feminine Mystique, released last night on the Rock Hard Caucus Patreon. Quite a bit of Craigslist content on that one.
so much
Majority Craigslist content. Yeah. And don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Angie's List.
If you are a fan of proper name lists, check it out. But yeah, Emily's List is like a pack that helps women in politics.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Why? It's like Emily must stand for something.
Yeah.
It
Who's
stands
Emily?
for, oh my god, you guys. Oh my god, you're gonna die. The group's name is an acronym for Early Money is Like Yeast.
What?
Whoa!
What?
Like bread.
Like it ferments. Yeah. Into alcohol.
Gotta help these women rise.
And you get drunk.
Early
On
Money.
what?
And it's like the fucking, and that means it's in all caps. So I just pulled it up and it looks like Emily's List.
Yeah.
Early money is like yeast. That's so bad.
Like, I was going to make a yeast infection joke, but I think that's a
I
little
know,
too gross.
but
It's gonna
I don't
turn
know
out
how
like
to make a gel.
whoever started is named Emily, and it's just a really terrible backronym.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's it.
Yeah.
They had to find something that would have
They-
with the name Emily.
They were grasping at straws with the yeast.
They reverse
They got
engineered
stuck
it.
on the Y. Yeah, they got stuck on the Y.
Here's an idea. I'm just spitballing here. What about yeast?
Women have yeast, and yeast is a thing that rises up and grows. So yeah,
Every mother is like yeast. I mean, there's no other Y words.
That's the
It's
only
gotta be
option. That's the
yeast.
only option. Yeah.
I can't think of any Y words besides yokel and yeast. On the Toxic Feminine Mystique, I said that viscous liquids that are secretly alive are unacceptable to me, and yeast is a viscous liquid that's secretly alive.
I actually thought of that exact quote because I'm drinking a kombucha right now as we record this. I was like, Natalie's not going to like that. But
Oh yeah, I have a sourdough starter. No, I'm just kidding. But that's a very like quarantine activity.
Yeah. Everyone's
Yeah.
doing it.
Okay, moving on. She's also received contributions from the Environmental Law and Policy Center, which is just generic enough to, I'm sure, be evil.
It means it's evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If I know anything, I know that's something ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've played enough video games to know.
I think the CEO is Hank Scorpio.
We got $12,000 from Knapp Properties. I'm sure that's just a real estate.
Like-
Oh,
K?
that they actually
Yeah.
own. Probably shouldn't say this. They own the company they're the company that owns the building that I work in. Or
right.
Would normally be working in.
Right.
But my company's good, solid Democratic donors. So
Here's a good one. $11,000 from the Council on Foreign Relations. Everyone loves them.
oh yeah, I love foreign relations, especially when it involves the United States.
I love having foreign relations. It's a real clunky sex joke.
TE Nursery School. This one I am not familiar with.
Do they have deep pockets? How much do they give?
That's another $11,000.
That's a lot.
It's probably another chain.
For state senates,
Yeah.
probably a lot, yeah.
It's another chain of childcare instead of elder care.
The last one on the list, I'm going to preface this. You're going to be disappointed, so don't get too excited at the name. She got $10,000 from Share Pack.
Oh no! It's not actually Cher, is
It's
it?
not, no. But it's
Oh.
CHER
Is it
Pack.
a pack of Cher impersonators?
Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with Share.
Oh no! I would vote for Cher.
Oh yeah, she's really good on Twitter.
She's really good on Twitter.
Yeah.
It's the pack for Congresswoman Sherry Bustos from Illinois. Anybody?
Sherry Bustos.
Anybody? Yes, Sherry Bustos. She's been in Congress just a year, since 2019. She came into the House of Representatives after the 2018 election.
You could say she bustosed onto the scene.
Yes, you could say that.
Oh, I just looked her up and she's part of No Labels.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
What is no labels?
Yeah.
It's like a centrist group it's bipartisan in nature.
Oh, I
It's
hate
their
that.
political organization and his mission is to combat partisan dysfunction according to Wikipedia.
Oh my god. I hate it so much. We
Yeah.
need 10 times the partisan dysfunction we have. We need
For
a
real.
fucking opposition party. Like, fuck this. You're all the
Instead
same.
of pretending you could just glad hand your way into power.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, but not to get good results.
Wait, sorry. I'm getting all this shit messed up. When I said she assumed office in 2019, that was not when she joined Congress. That was when she became the chair of the DCCC, which we're all a fan
Oh
of.
boy.
She actually
yeah.
joined Congress in 2013, and she replaced, this is Illinois' 17th district, she replaced Bobby Schilling. All right, so we've got a weird connection there. So the guy that Sherry Bustos replaced in Congress, Bobby Schilling, is most likely going to be running against Rita Hart in Iowa's 2nd district this year. So that may be why she's received a contribution from Share Pack.
Oh.
I
There we
love
go.
the idea that she's just out to get this Schilling guy. Like, she just wants to, like,
I mean,
grind him
he
into
is
the
a Republican,
ground.
so he's a huge piece of shit, I'm sure. But she's also part of No Labels, so...
Right. Yeah, he will not be joining me in Congress again. Keep him out.
Yeah.
I've started a pack to keep Bobby Schilling out of Congress.
I would vote for someone if they said that. That rocks.
Yeah, that's some rare honesty
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
just
you
total
don't get
spite.
from political campaigns.
Love that pettiness. Like, my first
Yeah.
priority is to serve the people of Illinois. My second priority is to fuck over Bobby Schilling.
I would love to hear an inauguration speech where they just talked about how much they hate
Yeah.
their hate. Like, this goes out to all my haters.
To all the haters and losers.
Yeah,
I
Trump
mean, that's
was
basically what
almost
Trump
that.
does,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah.
he's on to something with that part of it. It's just the morality part that's different.
Right, the showmanship, that's a plus. He's good at that.
Yes.
We want haters really bad. Email us at rockhardcaucus@gmail.com.
Because what are conservatives if not haters?
Yeah. Ideology of hate, for sure.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to get back to the interest group scorecards, where I left off a while ago. This is just a big pile of research, just a big mess I've made for myself. So in general, so she gets good scores from like Planned Parenthood and like women's groups, generally like getting 100% from those people.
Natalie and I like to hear that.
Yeah. We're women.
And then she got a 98% from AFL-CIO, so generally positive on labor. And then from like the shitty conservative interest groups, she gets very low scores. So in general, she's a Democrat. She gets what you would expect. But back to what I referenced earlier, 67% from the ACLU in 2014 because she voted for Senate File 2318. And the ACLU summarizes this bill. It's a cyberbullying bill.
Oh boy.
I
I know what that means.
This would have given schools authority to punish students for speech made outside of school.
Oh my god, that sucks so bad.
Rita voted for that. The ACLU was obviously opposed to that. It passed the Iowa Senate 26-19. It was amended and passed the House after that, and then no subsequent Senate vote on the House bill. So it did not become law, but Rita voted for it.
As a libertarian, I take offense to this.
Yeah,
That sucks so
But
bad.
you should still vote for Gina Hart if you have to. Like, I'm not going to vote for Biden, but I'll probably vote down ticket for Dems just because.
Yeah, you should
Might
vote
as
for
well
Rita
have
Hart.
some nice, like, complete dysfunction and have the government not able to do anything instead of bad things.
I've got a lot more of these bad bills she voted on, so don't
Oh, boy.
don't shoot your shot yet. House File 527 on the same ACLU scorecard. This was mandatory DNA sampling. So it required certain aggravated misdemeanors to submit a DNA sample upon conviction. Passed the House, passed the Senate. Signed into law by Governor Branstad on May 15th, 2013. ACLU was obviously opposed to this, and Rita Hart voted for it, and it became law.
That's the kind of bill that I expect 0 Democrats to have the balls to vote against.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the law?
It's like, if you get convicted, like, whatever, fuck you. It's like, they don't give a shit about prisoners, least of all.
Well, it passed in 2013. I don't know if there have been any, revisions to the law since then. It passed the House pretty heavily, 79-18, and it passed the Senate 29-20. So a bit closer, but still, not much of a struggle there.
I wonder if any of those votes were like Republican libertarian types.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I wouldn't be super shocked.
We've got some of those here. Okay, so she got 67% overall. So the rest of the votes the ACLU approved of. We don't need to get into that because that's boring.
Oh, does it make it worse that she voted for schools to be able to punish kids because she used to be a teacher? She was a teacher at one point.
Oh, she must
wants
have
to
been a
get
teacher that
revenge on all
everyone
the bad
hated.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, students should be punished for what they say on ratemyprofessors.com.
Imagine the fucking trouble I'd get myself in if I'm so glad that there were certain internet tools that were not available to me when I was in high school. Just like, I really dodged some bullets.
Yeah, like the dawn of social media was like when we were high schoolers.
Yeah,
so
dude. We had Zanga. These kids don't know shit about Zanga.
Yeah.
Like, the trouble I would have gotten myself into was Snapchat in high school. It's just really best.
Yeah.
Did not have access
It is
to
true.
that.
Zanga's like 1,000 times more quaint than like
Yeah,
Snapchat.
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Moving on. So in 2016, I have another ACLU scorecard here. This time she got 50%.
That's not good.
No, not very good.
I mean, the ACLU is like the biggest one too. Really, like.
Mm-hmm. So this time around, they knocked her for voting for House File 558, which speech at funerals or memorial services. This bill expanded the buffer zone, the area in which disfavored speech is criminalized at funerals or memorial services, from 500 feet to 1,000 feet.
So this is the Westboro Baptist Church law,
Yeah.
I assume?
I guess, but it passed in 2015, so it seems a bit late.
Oh, yeah, that is pretty late.
And it passed unanimously, both houses, and signed by Governor Branstad on April 24th, 2015. So universal
That's another one
approval
that Democrats,
of that one.
I expect zero of them have to have the balls to actually vote against.
Yeah, I don't know if I feel like that strongly about this one.
Well,
Like
remember
funerals.
how much they loved John McCain when he died?
Yeah.
And pretty much anytime anyone dies who's a terrible person objectively.
I want to protest at John McCain's funeral. I want to dress up as an airplane. Just want to crash into shit in his honor.
Wow.
So this bill offends me because I don't get to make fun of the dead.
She also voted for House File 227, strip searches at jails.
Oh no.
Yeah, this allowed law enforcement to require a person arrested for low-level crime to remove clothing and permit visual inspection of genitalia, buttocks, anus, etc. without probable cause before admitting them to the jail's general population.
When was this?
2015.
Oh, okay. Well, Linn County was already doing that before.
Oh god.
And I'm sure a lot of them were.
Fucking awful.
Like, but that's interesting that it's mandated on a state level. That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
fucking like there's so many fucking like just podunk ass. No offense, but I don't know. I know one of my relatives or family members of relatives was like the jailer in a rural Iowa county, and it's like it's a joke. It's just for the town drunks, basically.
Right.
So that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's awful.
So this passed the Senate unanimously.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. It passed the House 91-1. One Iowa representative voted against this. I didn't look it up, but I would be interested in knowing who that was.
Do you think Iowa has always been this fucked up, or are we just more aware of it now because we're older and we're like more cognizant?
I think we're more aware of it.
Yeah.
It was definitely somewhat better, at least with schools and
Right.
Reproductive rights issues.
There are a lot. I mean, like neoliberalism has like eroded like all of our public institutions since like the 70s. So
Iowa's leaned into that in the last 10 years, maybe
Mhm.
more.
She also voted for Senate File 345, which is just the cyberbullying bill again. Yeah.
I like to picture her like voting for it with like relish and then being like, "Take that, Timmy."
This time around, it passed the Senate 43-7, but didn't even come up in the House. Don't know. I don't know what's up with that. They just keep trying and they keep failing.
it's funny too. Like the bullying thing is like a totally like Good Morning America type of like media thing about bullying, because like I mean, not that bullying isn't a problem, but it's one of the things that like the media likes to focus on at the expense of like anything that actually really matters. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I getting in hot water for this?
Switchboards are lighting up over here.
I'm just saying, like they would rather talk about bullying than like economic injustice 900 times out of 1,000.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the funding disparities between schools is probably a bigger issue.
Not that bullying is a problem, but it kind of became like the issue du jour for like
It's like video
a bunch
games
of
or something.
middle class people.
And it's like you are always treating a symptom and not a cause.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
when it comes to something like that.
that's true, because I don't have any children, so I don't have any room to talk about.
Yeah, have you guys just tried having kids that aren't nerds?
I think some of our politicians are in office because they didn't get bullied enough. So I'm running on a pro bullying platform.
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, we all know it's a matter of perspective with bullying.
My kid's not going to get bullied because she's not going to be a fucking narc-ass dork.
Yeah, do you think the parents of bullies know their kids are bullies? Probably not.
Some of them, maybe.
Some of them probably do, but
yeah,
most of them, I would bet, probably don't.
Yeah. I was going to ask, Natalie, is Scout getting into cyberbullying yet?
Yeah.
Well, I, for one, love to cyberbully. So I do a lot of cyberbullying. I think it's praxis. So I'm excited to pass that along to my daughter as well. But no, she does not.
She's learning it from you, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's really important to me that she learns how to properly give death threats to politicians on Twitter. Parody. So...
Here's an actual, like, pretty bad one that Rita voted for. This is Senate File 448. This is regarding juvenile sentencing. This maintains life without the possibility of parole sentence for juveniles, requires unconstitutional mandatory consideration of aggravating factors, and fails to address needed parole reforms for juveniles. Of course, that's the ACLU's summary of it.
But come on, man. If you're still in favor of, like, fucking the insane, over excessive juvenile punishments in this country, then, like, the fuck's wrong with you?
Yeah,
it's messed up.
Life with no parole.
Life with no parole for a fucking...
For children.
A kid.
Yeah. You guys want to guess whether this passed the Senate or not?
Oh, 100% did.
Yeah, passed the Senate 47-3, overwhelmingly. Yep. And, signed into law by Governor Branstad once again.
But the Democrats aren't tough enough on crime.
Yeah, no shit.
God damn.
Bipartisan agreement.
We're so fucking inhumane. I don't understand what person can live with themselves thinking that we should give life sentences to fucking kids. Like, how do you sleep at night?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in some states, you can do a crime or be convicted of a crime when you're a child and face the death penalty. So at least we don't have that here.
And the worst thing is, there's probably Democrats who, like, would vote against it on moral grounds, but they're worried about some asshole running a fucking negative campaigning ad against them for being soft on crime or whatever.
Because they're fucking pussies.
It's pathetic.
It's so pathetic.
I mean, that's basically the theme of today's show is
it's pathetic.
Feckless Democrat.
Yeah, because that's basically her voting record is just, weak, spineless Democrat. Finally, in 2016, the ACLU knocked Rita Hart for voting for House File 2331. This regards restricting boycotts, a form of free speech. Anyone care to guess what this bill is about?
BDS.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Prohibits state funds from going to companies that engage in boycotts of Israel. The state cannot contract with companies that boycott Israel.
Right.
Yeah. It passed the Senate with Rita's help, 38-9. Also passed the House, 70-25. I'm surprised that it didn't pass by more. And signed into law by Governor Branstad on May 10th, 2016.
Yeah, it's not enough to just, like, fund Israel directly or through any number of contributions, but...
You can't even say anything bad.
Yeah. The government will not give money to any company who does not, like, is not cool with Israel.
Decline to work with Israel. Like, God. No one gives a fucking shit about this. And I just, like, how do you get people to care? Like, I bet if you, like, called Rita Hart and was like, or saw her at an event and was like, what the fuck was up with that BDS vote? She would be like,
what's BDS?
What? Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't know and you don't care. Like, you're just,
Okay, so moving on. In 2018, the ACLU gave Rita Hart an 88% score. Much better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, most improved student award.
Yeah. This time around, she only voted against the ACLU's interests once. Of the bills that they highlighted. And she voted for Senate File 2235. This is a criminal justice reform bill. This created a new crime of critical infrastructure sabotage with severe penalties, a Class B felony, and $85,000 to $100,000 fine.
What's critical infrastructure?
I'm guessing this is like a pipeline thing.
Ooh, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Critical infrastructure. Yeah, because we all know how important oil is right now. It's just pissing out of the ground. No one even wants it.
Well, at the time, though, when it passed the Iowa Senate 35-13 on April 3rd, 2018, I think the price of oil was quite a bit higher than it is today.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you guys seen the documentary, The Beverly Hillbillies?
Black gold. Texas tea.
Texas tea. Those are the days.
This was signed into law by Governor Reynolds on April 17th, 2018, with the help of Rita Hart. And that's all of the specific scorecards that I was able to find. But another highlight here, unfortunately, I wasn't able to find the actual rubric here, but the Iowa Sierra Club gave Rita Hart a 56% in 2015. I'm sure everyone knows what the Sierra Club is. It's an environmental group.
Mm-hmm.
So Rita is not a super good climate science kind of Democrat. 56% from the Sierra Club. If anybody out there can find the Sierra Club Iowa Legislature 2015 scorecard, I would love to see it. I was not able to find it myself.
The critical infrastructure bill is an ALEC bill.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's an amendment to the endangered species law.
Interesting.
So it's pipelines.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess.
actually, endangered species, we'll disrupt your habitat with a pipeline. No problem.
What communities are in the district that she used to serve? Is it really rural or?
District 49, it is Clinton and Scott counties. Yeah, so Clinton, Iowa, and the Quad Cities. So it's right on the border with Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't contain the Quad Cities, however. It's the northern part of Scott County. So I think it is mostly rural, yeah.
You have to vote for her. No, it's terrible. I had to vote for Cindy Axne.
Yeah.
It fucking sucks. It sucks, dude.
Right. I've voted for Dave Loebsack,
Ugh,
ever since
he
I could vote.
sucks.
So, sounds like she'll be just more the same.
I've got one more. I'm going to fixate on one of her votes now because I think this one is more indicative than how she would be as a U.S. representative. So I was looking over her profile here on votesmart.org, and it lists some of her votes by categories like certain issues. And I figured since Planned Parenthood was giving her 100%, I would check out her abortion votes. And, I was expecting it to be all very pro-choice stuff since Planned Parenthood gave her high marks, 100% marks, in fact. So I would expect her to never vote against the interests of reproductive freedom. But it lists here that she voted for Senate File 359 in 2017, which is a precursor to the heartbeat bill. So I was a little surprised to see that she voted for this. And I looked into it a little bit. And so this was not a heartbeat bill. It was not outlawing abortion as soon as a fetus has a heartbeat.
It was the Rita heartbeat bill.
And she voted for it because how could she not?
Dude, you really need to talk to your mom.
She's back on her bullshit, yeah. Well, she is. So in my research, I found that she is Catholic. So,
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Could be contributing to her anti-choice legislation. Support for that.
Yeah. So this was initially introduced by Senator Chapman. I didn't look up his first name, but a Republican state senator.
He sucks.
You know about him?
Not anything in particular, just that he sucks.
Okay. Well, yeah. we could have assumed that.
Yeah. He does a lot of the abortion stuff.
Okay, yeah. So Senator Chapman introduced Senate File 359, a bill for an act prohibiting certain actions regarding fetal body parts and providing penalties. So this is prohibiting the sale of fetus parts. You know, that thing from that video from like 5 years ago. That was proven staged in like 2015.
Still on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that include like stem cells even?
Yeah. You should.
That's like the only thing that like why someone would conceivably like.
That was the whole reason is they donate fetal tissue for like stem cell research.
Right.
But now they can't. And they were not selling it. They were like
Right,
having
it's
the
research.
cost.
What if I don't want the stem cells? I'm just a freak.
Well, we need to stop you. You need to go to jail, actually.
Did we have one like attempting to make people bury them, or is it just like you can't sell?
I don't know if we've had one that goes that far.
I've disengaged because I can't handle it.
Yeah. This is VoteSmart's quick summary of the bill. Prohibits individuals from knowingly using, acquiring, providing, receiving, or otherwise transferring a fetal body part. So this goes even further than just prohibiting sale. It's like you can't be moving these around in any way. However, it does specify that the prohibition does not apply to diagnostic procedures which have the purpose of determining the life or health of the fetus, actions taken in furtherance of final disposition of a body, the study of tissue for diagnostic and forensic purposes, and fetal body parts resulting from miscarriage or stillbirth that are donated for medical research. So it prohibits things that already were not happening, basically.
So like some performative bullshit.
Yeah. So this passed the Iowa Senate, 46 yays and 6 nays. Almost everyone. The only 6 Iowa senators who voted against this were Bolcom, Dvorsky, Peterson, Dotzler, McCoy, and Taylor.
Bolcom is the best senator,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah, I've read good things from him.
He's the best.
But included in the yays, people who I know are Democrats, who I know have like pretty large profiles in the state. Again, Rita Hart, of course. Rob Hogue voted in favor of this. And also
Weird.
Nate.
That sucks.
Yeah, Nate Bolton voted for it.
Nate Bolton, of course.
Yeah.
A little
Dude,
bit
I
surprised
forgot.
about Rob. Yeah, I mean,
I forgot
Rob
about
Hogue
Nate
is
Bolton's existence.
one of the better senators, state senators, but
Yeah,
still
he is.
disappointing from time to time. This is another bill where it's like, what if they run a bad campaign ad against me?
Yeah, that's it exactly. Because the
Yeah.
senators who voted against it, like it looks like they're only in like pretty.
They're probably in safe
blue
seats,
districts.
yeah.
Like Dvorsky, who was my senator at the time. You know, Iowa City and Coralville. Like he's going to get reelected.
Yeah, just, what a pointless bill, though. Like, fuck that. It's fucking garbage.
Well, what pointless people? What a pointless legislature? What a pointless country?
Initially, it was pointless. It was a bill to ban the sale of fetuses, basically, like a thing that Carly Fiorina brought up at the 2016 debates, and it was total bullshit.
That's right. Yeah.
It's a talking point. It's like the purest distillation of like not a real world thing, just a complete political fabrication.
Guys, do you remember when Ted Cruz pre-selected Carly Fiorina? I'm just remembering that as his VP to like as a like Hail Mary on his presidential campaign.
Oh yeah,
And then immediately dropped out.
Yeah, and immediately dropped out.
yeah. Remember when Ted Cruz was an anti-Trump conservative? Because Trump called his wife ugly.
And said his dad killed JFK.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and said his dad killed JFK. Oh shit.
Dude, Trump is awesome. I know, you know what I mean.
Oh no, we're getting canceled again.
I mean that it's awesome to bully Ted Cruz.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
broken
that's
clock.
basically what we were saying earlier, is that the showmanship, he knocks out of the park.
Yeah, we like that.
I
Everything else
won't
is
quite
horrible.
endorse what he said about Ted Cruz, but even though Ted Cruz is a vile piece of shit, but he's right for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, and his wife is not even ugly.
Yeah,
That's also true.
I find her to be very relatable because she had a like really bizarre mental breakdown.
Oh yeah,
that's what I
forgot about
remember
that.
too.
They found her by the side of the road.
Yeah, because she was like,
Oh.
"I'm married to Ted Cruz. Like, how is my life going to continue?"
Guys, it's important to me that you know that. So I read one of the like dumbass women's magazine profiles of his wife. And she said at their wedding, like they had a full brass band, and Ted Cruz still insisted that they play from a like tape A Whole New World from Aladdin, even though they had a full band that had to be, I think, first dance, but let me look it up.
I vaguely recall this, and that's like so on brand for Ted Cruz. A Whole New World.
Ted Cruz. For the record, Donald Trump is a fucking fascist monster. He's just funny. Like,
Okay, so what I was saying is that this was a pointless bill initially. It doesn't really do anything, and it passed the Senate because the Democrats were spineless and didn't oppose it. When it got to the House, however, that's when it was amended and became the heartbeat bill. So it passed the House, obviously, as the heartbeat bill, came back to the Senate and passed the Senate. And at that point, that's when Rita Hart voted against it. So she helped them get the ball rolling, but then, when it really counted, she voted against it.
To no avail.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Little known fact about the heartbeat bill is that it prohibits bullying fetal remains within 1,000 feet of a funeral.
okay, this is even better. Ted Cruz insisted his wedding ceremony end with the CD version of Aladdin's A Whole New World, and they had a full band.
The CD version, and they had a whole band.
Yeah, and he didn't even want them to play like some kind of instrumental. It had to be. That's the thing I love is like not that you played A Whole New World, but that you had a full band, a live band. Fucking incredible.
He's a fucking
I bet she
hardcore
hates
Disney fan.
So fuck Rita Hart,
Yeah, but vote for her.
but you gotta vote for her, and it's terrible.
She's running unopposed. That's wild.
There was someone who was more liberal than her who was running, right? Who dropped out.
There were a couple other candidates that I know of that dropped out way before the primary even began.
Damn.
Veronica, is it Tesler? Is that her last name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
She's a local business owner and Elizabeth Warren person.
but she's the Froyo person.
Yeah. She had small businesses with Warren sign in her business window. for a
But
few
I would
months,
trust
which
pretty much anyone from like Iowa City over this lady.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even if they are a small business owner. But I mean, Froyo is delicious, so.
We're not hating on Froyo.
We're not,
We're
yeah.
hating on Elizabeth Warren.
Right.
This is about Elizabeth Warren, not Froyo.
Can we add that to our list of Rock Hard Caucus demands? Is like froyo in every pot.
And then I know there was one other candidate. I can't remember his last name. His first name is Abuisa, and he's a professor at the university, and he was like a Bernie guy. And I definitely would have voted for him had he stayed in the election, but he had like no campaign to speak of, so it wasn't going anywhere, unfortunately. So here we are with Rita. I know that Natalie has said multiple times, you have to vote for her. I would like to just say for the record that I will not disown you if you choose not to.
I wouldn't disown anyone for that.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I wouldn't
Yeah.
disown anyone. You're right. I guess I mean like more telling myself when it comes
But,
to those
like,
kinds
sure,
of people.
sure.
We talked about in the last episode that it's possible that this seat does go to a Republican. So it's not like it's 100% in the bag for her.
Yeah, especially seeing that she has a campaign website that is just blank. Like, she's basically not running on any issues. It's just a like a short biography and like a donation link.
Yep. It says that she's raised in a split household, Democrats and Republicans, and that's it.
Cool.
House divided.
It said a house divided upon itself.
Her logo too is like her name, like folksily painted onto a looks like red barn.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like
Love
got a
that.
wood pattern behind it. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's really just taking those Iowa City votes for granted.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's just going to be a weak campaign, just like assuming this is a safe district. And I don't know.
I don't know, given who's on the top of the ticket and all that. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure.
especially given those Iowa City votes, I don't know if they're quite as for granted as you would imagine.
Yeah.
I'd still, I'd guess that she probably will win.
Yeah, probably.
But given what we just went over, I would not expect much from any sort of legislative career from Congresswoman Rita Hart, should that occur. Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I'm not saying, I didn't bring all this up to tell you not to vote for her, but also, I'm not,
Yeah.
you got to make that decision for yourself.
She'll be reliably disappointing, like
Mhm.
all
I
Democrats.
think we're all fans of blowing up the current Democratic Party establishment as it currently exists.
Yeah, you're right. And I would never, as long as you don't vote for a Republican, like,
Right.
The other day I was like, what if I did vote Republican? Just to like feel what it's like.
just
Do
to
not
feel
endorse.
the,
Abort.
like, just fuck you. They get to go in to the voting booth and just be like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And
Right.
get that feeling of just scribbling the holes of fuck
Yeah.
you. And that would feel really
The
good.
spite
It would feel
vote.
good.
Yeah, spite. Whereas like I go in there and I'm like,
Do I have to?
yeah. What is the moral choice here? They just get to
I mean, at this
Like,
point,
what is-
the Democrats are repeating the same fucking strategy since 1992 and, like, have not adapted whatsoever in the slightest. They've showed you their whole goddamn ass. Like, you don't have any reason to believe that this strategy works. So, like, why even bother? Like I said, other than voting for more gridlock, more partisan gridlock. So, like, don't vote for Joe Biden, but vote for Democrats down ticket.
just so that Republicans can't do anything.
Yep.
That's the best you got.
Yep.
I think that's-
And you wanna
That
know
is
what?
already
They're
the
still
best
gonna
you've
be able
got.
to do stuff.
Right. The Democrats, if Joe Biden's gonna like, he's gonna have Republicans on his cabinet. He's gonna spend all this time being a bipartisan unity candidate. He's gonna bring the country together, aka paper over the status quo, so it makes it more comfortable for these people.
Yeah.
More comfortable
Fuck
for them
Joe
to like
Biden.
acknowledge that most of their problem with Trump is like aesthetic rather than what actually happens to the vulnerable people that they care about or they claim to care about.
Absolutely. Just 4 years that we can go back to not caring or paying attention. We can just be comfortable with President Biden.
Yeah. Now that you brought it up, Evan, I think that is pretty strategically sound to just vote in favor of whatever makes more partisan gridlock. Just bring these people.
Yeah.
Just bring everything to a standstill. Halt.
It's
as much
already
action
at a
as possible.
standstill, but like if
It is,
it would
but
be
just-
bad if I don't want the Republicans to gain back the House. Fuck no. Like,
yeah.
no.
Just help them dig their heels in. Make less and less happen in the halls of power. Yeah, makes sense. I think that's the right way to do
It's
it.
never good. Stuff happening is never good.
Yeah. At some point, I think probably when he leaves office, I would like to do a Dave Loebsack retrospective episode.
Retrospective.
Yeah.
You can give him the John
In
Delaney
memoriam.
treatment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. In the arms of an angel.
Yeah. But until then, I'll just say it seems like Rita Hart would be a worthy successor
Yep.
to the Loebsack career. Do you guys want to do something fun, quick, before we go?
Yes.
100%.
Okay, I have
I
here.
like fun.
I enjoy having fun when possible. There's not a lot of fun going on recently.
No.
But we can have a little bit of fun with this back and forth that occurred in the Cedar Rapids Gazette recently. So first up, published Thursday, April 23rd, there was a staff editorial from the Gazette. The headline is "A Sickening Top 5 Ranking for Iowa." Just let me just say, this isn't the fun part yet, okay?
I was going to say, is this really fun? Because I know what you're going to talk about. It doesn't seem very fun.
This isn't the fun part. And I don't want to read like every word of this, but basically this is the staff of the Gazette lamenting that Iowa is... We're the 5th worst state in terms of disparity between black and white arrests for marijuana possession. Black Iowans are more than 7 times more likely than white Iowans to be arrested for marijuana possession. This is worse than the national rate, where black people are about 4 times more likely to be arrested for marijuana possession. So we're like a little shy of double the national rate here. The disparity.
This has always been a problem. This is like not new statistics either. Like this has like been known that we've been consistently at the top of the rankings.
And the most recent data I've seen the last few years is that the disparity between white arrest versus arrests of people of color is the worst in Johnson County, liberal Johnson County.
Yeah. It says here that the worst counties are Linn, Muscatine, and Dubuque. In Dubuque, it looks like black people are 13.2 times more likely. That's
God damn.
Yeah. I don't know if that's supposed to be a
my
percentage
God.
or a multiplier. 13.2% higher than the statewide, maybe. But anyway, those are the worst counties. They do note here that our current 5th place ranking is an improvement over 2013, when we were actually number 1.
Oh yeah, that's what I thought I was remembering. I was gonna say like we were.
Yeah.
I thought we were number 1.
Mm-hmm. At the time, black Iowans were 8.3 times more likely than white Iowans to be arrested for marijuana possession.
Well, they should be giving us a little bit more credit. From 1 to 5. I don't know if that's sickening. I would say, good job, Iowa. Room for improvement, but making baby steps.
And the Gazette editorial staff, they mentioned that racism or implicit bias from some police officers is one factor driving racial disparities.
Dear God.
Yeah.
I was a white Iowan who got arrested on a marijuana charge, and I got pulled over, but you know what neighborhood it was in? It was right next to the TikTok in Cedar Rapids, which, if you know where the TikTok is in Cedar Rapids,
Yeah.
it's not the nicest neighborhood.
That's actually the next sentence is other issues include over-policing of poor neighborhoods.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so the Gazette editorial staff, it looks like they come pretty close to recommending marijuana legalization, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
Oh my gosh, Adam Sullivan definitely wrote that.
I'm sure he was involved, yeah.
Kudos.
Adam
The
Sullivan
rare
has-
kudos. if he had
Yeah,
any influence
he has,
over
like,
the Gazette.
two good takes.
Yeah, he has 2
So-
good takes that he repeats ad nauseum. And not the vapes.
Vaping activism.
Yeah, I can't underscore this point more. That guy loves weed.
Yeah, still kudos.
The final paragraph of the editorial here is, while many law enforcement agencies give token consideration to disparity reports and implicit bias training, results are the only worthwhile measure of progress. Iowa remains one of the worst in the nation. So, I mean, they're pretty real in this editorial. Like, there's real reasons this is happening, and it's largely on law enforcement agencies.
Yeah. And it's the result of decades of systematic racism. Like, the fact that there are communities that are over-policed is the result of decades of systematic racism.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's more of a like thermometer of like the problem, and especially like here because it's like an overwhelmingly white state.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Where redlining was practiced.
100%.
So I was impressed with this editorial from the Gazette, but somebody else was not particularly happy with it. And this was printed in the Gazette just Friday, May 1st. It says here, County Attorney, reprehensible editorial played race card against Iowa police. All right, this is where it gets fun.
Oh, my God.
Because we get to make fun of somebody.
I love when the race card is in the fucking title of the article.
Yeah. So this was written by Jerry Vander Sanden, Linn County Attorney.
That's definitely a Joseph Dobrian character.
That's such a Joseph Dobrian character.
Jerry Vander Sanden. That's actually really close to Van Devender, the
Yeah.
name of the college. All right, so here's what Jerry had to say about this. The recent Gazette staff editorial was a reprehensible attack on our police and a shameful play of the race card. Citing a report by the American Civil Liberties Union showing black Iowans were more likely than white Iowans to be arrested for marijuana possession and to be behind bars, the editorial asserted that the police and Iowa's legal system unfairly targets black people.
That's a fact.
Right. I like that he spells out American Civil Liberties Union instead of just saying ACLU.
It's always these people who are like, it's not explicit bias, it's implicit bias. That's your whole argument, is they didn't mean to be racist.
They just are racist.
Yeah.
It's not intentional. However, you can't always draw sound conclusions by citing statistics. Bare numbers don't tell the whole story, and there are other factors that account for racial disparities in the justice system.
Oh, no.
I'm tugging at my collar.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
I know one of the directions where this could go.
Linn County is one of several jurisdictions in Iowa dealing with a serious gun violence problem. Many of these crimes occur in poor neighborhoods, and the victims are often black. Police concentrate their efforts in these hotspot areas in an effort to combat the violence and get guns off the street.
Okay, sure. Yep.
So he mentions, like in the previous paragraph, that you don't get the full picture with just statistics and numbers, and then provides zero statistics or numbers to support his own his own assertions here. I would like to perhaps see some numbers, some results.
And yeah, their article was talking about like Iowa-wide numbers. I know for a fact that like in 2018 there were like a shitload of murders in Des Moines. In 2019 there were not that many murders in Des Moines. Like it's kind of jumps around, but like as a whole, like violent crime numbers are like way down overall, like decade over decade.
Oh yeah,
Iowa's
definitely.
very safe.
Yeah, it's not even like a problem. It's a problem like in the local news pages because there's like not that much going on here anyway.
If it bleeds, it leads.
Right.
Yeah. What am I going to put as my headline?
And there has been a couple
4-H
incidents like recently because of like the coronavirus, but like, or like people just being restless and shit, like, and the fact that like crime always goes up when it gets hot, like, or it gets warmer. Anyway, sorry for interrupting.
Oh, I was going to pretend I was a newspaper editor and I was deciding between having my paper headline be like 4-H pig eats 4-H watermelon or like someone shot. But Evan made a really good point.
Any story that gets comments about Chicago and the KCRG Facebook
Yeah.
post, that's what's going on.
Oh, and that's the thing too. It's like red meat for these people.
Yeah.
They love just scouring the fucking news for any like crime involving a minority.
Oh yeah.
Because guess what? Those are the
absolutely.
ones that get reported on.
Yeah. And then they can recall that as they're writing their editorial, like this dumb, instead of citing any statistics.
To be fair, there's more numbers as we continue, but I do like how he includes zero statistics in that one assertion.
Well, he already said you can't trust statistics, so.
You can only trust anecdotes from me, Jerry Sanden Vander. Vanden. Sam. Whatever his name is.
It stands to reason that officers will patrol, stop, and frisk and make arrests in the areas where violent crime is reported and the complaints are made. It's not like the police are meandering about the city looking to arrest a certain segment of the population for marijuana charges. When they find marijuana, an arrest is made regardless of the race of the offender. I'm going to need a citation on that one. It's not like the police are meandering about the city looking to arrest people. I think that's probably
the
their
purpose
job.
of the police.
Yeah. Yes.
Didn't we just learn, too, about how if you commit any kind of very low-level minor crime, you'll be strip searched at jail to find any drugs or anything else that could possibly be on your person?
Right. Yeah. For any arrest, that could happen to you. By the way, a recent list of defendants in the Linn County Jail showed 229 people being held. The number of people being held for marijuana possession? 0. See, now he's owning us with statistics.
Dude.
Like, that has any relevance.
Bummer story of a friend of mine is she was talking on the phone with another one of her friends. Her friend called for a mental health check, like a wellness check, called the police.
That can go bad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, because she was saying something she perceived as suicidal, and they came in, searched her place, and arrested her for pot. So I would like you to guess the race of the person who got arrested, and then the race of the woman who thought that you should call the police for a welfare check.
Jesus.
I can't imagine ever calling a welfare check in on a friend. Like, they're your friend, aren't you? Like,
Yeah.
you're just, like, already talking to them. Like, can't you do your own welfare check?
I mean, I appreciate the impulse, but that's some real white girl shit to do.
Yeah. I appreciate the impulse, but not to call the cops.
Yeah.
So she went to fucking jail.
Oh, God. Yeah, how well was she doing after that?
Yeah. Oh, Jesus.
To be sure, blacks are overrepresented in Iowa's prisons. They make up about 3.4% of Iowa's population, while accounting for roughly 25% of prison inmates. But do these figures prove the police and the criminal justice system are to blame for the racial imbalance in our prison population?
What else could be to blame?
The fallacy in such an argument can be seen when comparing it to a far bigger disparity in our prison population.
Is it meant to women? Please say it's meant to women.
That is the gender disparity.
Oh,
Yeah! I didn't read this before. I love it when people do that. It's funny.
Yeah.
Men's rights.
God damn.
How can we deflect? I mean, what's the unanswered question there? If it's not that the justice system is biased against a certain population, why would their prison population so outweigh their overall population of the state? Like, what's
the only
what's
answer
the alternative?
is there's something inherently wrong with black people.
Right.
Those are the two options.
Exactly
Like,
the
either
contrast he's trying to make. Like, it's, like, pretty fucking obvious.
Yeah.
If you're, like, so inclined and not agreeing with him.
Like, there is... like... You are either saying there's something intrinsically wrong with black people or the system is biased. Those are the only two things.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that, like, the whole thing was about marijuana arrests in particular. Like, I know that they're, like, is one of the worst states as far as, like, criminal penalties for marijuana. But, like, what percentage of those prison inmates were marijuana arrests versus, like, other crimes, too? Like,
yeah.
It's silly all the way around.
Well, I let's let him deflect to the gender disparity here. Let's see where he goes with this.
Dudes
let's.
rock.
There are 9 prisons in Iowa, 8 for men and 1 for women.
Checkmate, liberals.
Here he goes, owning us with numbers again. Of the roughly 8,500 inmates in these prisons, about 91% are men, 9% are women. These figures represent an astonishing gender imbalance in our prison system. Does that statistical inequality mean that our justice system is rigged against men while giving women a free pass? No sensible person would cite the gender disparity in our prison population to argue that the criminal justice system is sexist and unfairly targets men. We accept the proposition that men commit crimes at a disproportionate rate relative to their segment of the population. The fact of the matter is that the people in prison are the ones who are committing the crimes.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
There's so much statistical evidence, too, that says that white people and black people consume marijuana at like the same rate.
Yeah.
But it's only people of color who are incarcerated and arrested.
I mean, that's true for all crimes. Like, they do all crimes at the same rate.
Yeah.
In any other context, they would balk at like a gender to race 1-to-1 argument like that.
As I was reading it, it's like this is a very Dennis Clayson style article.
Yeah. Gotcha. I've discovered a fatal flaw in your argument.
In your own logic.
By comparing
your own logic.
two things that are entirely different.
Racial bias. Well, what about women? They're the real problem.
that I learned to care about right this
Women should commit more crimes.
More women criminals.
If you want to let black people out of jail, you got to put more women in. That's all I'm saying.
When the ACLU and other anti-police groups rant about disparities in the justice system, they tend to ignore the most troubling inequity in our justice system. That is, the racial disparity in crime victimization. So he's doing the...
What about the
crime
victims?
thing.
Yeah.
Although black men make up about 6% of our population, they account for nearly half of America's homicide victims. A Bureau of Justice Statistics study of homicides from 1980 to 2008 found that the victimization rate of blacks was 6 times that of whites. This alarming inequity is seldom addressed by those bent on leveling charges of racism against the police and the justice system.
Yeah. How do you not have the imagination to be like, maybe it's because the police and the justice system have always been racist? Because it's like pretty well documented at this point.
Yeah, could violence against this group of people also at the same time be being committed by people in law enforcement as well? I mean, it's not like those things are...
Yeah, they're doing the standard thing, or rather he is doing the standard thing of like immediately when like a Black Lives Matter or any sort of focus on police brutality is brought up, you just immediately deflect to, yeah, but what about like Chicago homicide rates? It's
Yeah.
classic racist uncle argument.
The thing is, we could all write this article. Not because we're racist, but because we know these fucking, like, this shit writes itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a tired series of arguments.
You can see every single argument coming in advance.
Imagination. Yeah.
And the only reason it works is because the entirety of the GOP is in favor of racism.
Yeah, it's confirmation bias.
I think, I just want to say, I think Jerry Vander Sanden is a Democrat.
Oh, is he really? Oh, okay.
Just so we know.
All right, well.
I mean, it tracks.
All right, well, I'll be generous and say that at least half the Democrats are racist, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll edit that out if I find information to the contrary.
That would be perfect, though, for, like, because we talked so much about how shitty Rita Hart is, if the moral of this story, too, was also, like, Democrats are also racist and continue to be disappointing.
Yeah. The inordinate number of black lives lost to gun violence is tragic and is deserving of a strong police response. Those who live in high-crime areas, understandably weary of gun violence, are asking for more policing, not less. Our local law enforcement agencies dedicate themselves to putting an end to the violence and senseless loss of life. Our peace officers are not racists, and it was irresponsible for the Gazette to suggest otherwise. It is a worthy endeavor to examine the root causes of crime and to search for solutions. But in the process, let's not unfairly disparage the integrity of the men and women in blue who risk their lives to serve and protect us.
Yeah, did he literally just say that people are asking to, like, arrest their neighbors and shit? For
much,
weed?
yeah,
For weed? I mean, maybe, but I don't think that's happening in those neighborhoods. Come on, give me a fucking break.
No.
Yeah, the disproportionate arrest is because of the people who live nearby. They want the cops to be around, arresting everyone they know.
Everyone loves it when their family, friends, and neighbors are in jail. Everyone loves it.
Well, if you're competing for parking spots, like, it just makes sense to be.
It's so true. If there's only so much off-street parking.
I don't know if that's too much of a problem in Cedar Rapids, though.
Oh yeah, plenty of parking in that city.
My favorite thing about living in Cedar Rapids was I could park anywhere.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to live there. Did you know that we probably talked about this before, that being a pizza delivery driver is much, much, much more dangerous than being a cop? A cop is not a dangerous job. It's not.
Yeah.
Like, you are not risking your life. Shut the fuck up. You're not doing shit. Like,
yeah, I mean,
being a cop is like one of the safest things you can do.
There are dangers involved, of course, but yeah, they're
Right.
pretty far down the list in terms of like occupational hazards.
Right. There are dangers involved in a lot of jobs at a much
You're
higher
carrying
rate.
a gun around, and you're in a position of authority within the government.
Yeah, no,
You're kind of covered. And also,
pretty
you know,
safe.
like, I mean, internal affairs, I'm pretty sure, is usually pretty biased towards the officers. Like, you're not even going to get in trouble if you fuck up 9 times out of 10.
No.
you are the danger. You're not in danger.
I am the one who knocks.
I think my favorite sentence was like right at the end where he says, "It is a worthy endeavor to examine the root causes of crime and to search for solutions." And he did not do any of that.
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
article.
exactly. Like,
He deflected
the root
away from
causes
it.
of crime.
Yeah.
What is it? Lay those on us, Jerry Vander Snoot.
It's a worthy endeavor, but I'm going to demonize anyone who tries.
Yeah.
Okay, I was afraid, like, when we started getting into that, it may not have been fun, but I think that it ended up being pretty fun, despite the serious subject matter.
Yeah, like, I'm really proud of us. Like, we can always come together and shit on some idiot.
But there's so many idiots to choose from. Like,
Yeah.
There's
It's
so many
fucking-
idiots.
Okay, I have evidence now. When he was running for Linn County attorney as the incumbent, last time he ran in 2018, he was listed as a Democrat. So, yes, the words that I just read to you were written by a registered Democrat, an elected official representing the Democratic Party.
Democrats suck such shit.
Aren't you proud?
They're so fucking disappointing.
yay, you cleared the extremely low bar of being a Republican by, like, embodying, like, 75% of what the Republicans already believe anyway.
Yeah, I mean, what in this article would have been different had it been written by a Republican
Zero.
county attorney?
Zero.
I mean, I don't know if I can find anything. Like,
Absolutely. He probably wouldn't have used the word endeavor.
He probably wouldn't have bothered with that sentence, but
Also, what kind of attorney is this guy?
well, Linn County prosecutor.
Oh, okay, of course. Well, okay.
Oh,
well,
he's a
duh.
prosecutor.
Okay.
He's a
Prosecutor.
I guess I should have put that together.
Prosecutor. All prosecutors get the wall. In Natalie's America, every prosecutor gets the wall. Fuck prosecutors.
Speaking of hearts, I'm related to. My uncle is a county prosecutor, and he is a
I'm really sorry, Stella, that he gets the wall.
That's okay. I'll let him know. He is a Democrat in like this super red county in Nebraska, of all places. And this story is not going to go anywhere. He had like the elections there are always very like contested. It's crazy to me that you have to like have a party. Like, you have to run as a Democrat or a Republican to be a county prosecutor. Like, why is that a thing? It doesn't
We
make any
covered that a
sense
little
at
bit
all.
on our last episode.
Yeah.
Like, the appeal, which is a quick plug for a criminal justice podcast that's really, really excellent. It's by Adam Johnson of Citations Needed. And they talk a lot about how the most important thing that leftists should actually do is focus on prosecutor races. and say fuck it to the national stuff, because those are some of the most important people who shape your life in countless ways every day. And a progressive prosecutor can make changes on a really, really large, like much more than you think. So, which just makes me loathe Kamala Harris more.
Right.
But, like, because that's one of the most powerful things to be a DA, or, you know, whatever it may be, is like some of the most powerful positions in America. So we should be paying a lot more attention to that.
Yeah.
Those races and trying to support candidates.
That makes sense. Yeah, maybe we should.
That is a good point.
Keep our eye on Jerry Vander Sanden.
Yeah, keep an eye, and if he like gets a opponent who is more leftist, like it's a good place to put your efforts.
Yeah, prosecutors are bloodthirsty, like most of the time. Because, like, I mean, I guess after seeing so many like crimes or whatever, you're probably just conditioned to like believe that like it's because of the individual's fault or whatever. But like, we need people who are able to like look at the actual root issues that Jerry Vander Sanden talks about why people commit crimes in the first place.
Yeah.
And also legalize marijuana. What the fuck?
No one wants this. Who wants this?
No one.
You can't find anyone who's like thinks that anymore. Besides fucking Joe Biden. Who called it a gateway
Right.
drug,
It's all
yesterday.
paper thin justifications like this asshole. That's all they have. And like, we predicted
Talking
all
about
of
marijuana
we predicted every one of
disparities.
his arguments before he went on to show his ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, a fun activity in the future, because I'm sure a similar article will be written about one of this topic or another topic, would be for us to guess exactly what points the editorialist is going to bring up.
That's such a good bit, because we could have gotten all like, you know, you
I'm
got
confident,
Chicago, you
yeah.
got black and black crime, you got victims.
Just given the
Yeah.
title of the editorial where he says race card.
Yeah. Okay, well, I had one more article lined up, but we've been going for a while, and as I told you guys privately, this would just be us reading and agreeing with an article, which is probably not as entertaining. But I will recommend this to our listeners. This was published by Jacobin. It's called Iowa Governor, Your Job or Your Life. It was written by Colin Gordon. He's a University of Iowa history professor, and he writes about, you know, Kim Reynolds and how she's been dealing with or not dealing with the coronavirus pandemic in Iowa. It's, you know, something we're all already familiar with.
Oh, gee, it has not gotten any better since our last episode on the subject.
No, not at all. In fact, worse. But yeah, we're all in the shit, so we know what's going on. But Colin's article here is like really good. He has a lot of good stuff to say. He summarizes the situation well and offers, you know, alternatives that will, of course, fall on deaf ears. But you know,
Right.
It's a good article.
Right. I did the extremely futile act of sending a message to Kim Reynolds' office, but you know, I knew it was pointless. But at least I got my say in.
Yeah, so that's a good place to leave it. A lot of the actions you can take are ultimately pointless, but here we are.
If it makes you feel better.
I think
it.
we've done more research on Rita Hart than anyone else, so I think Rock Hard Caucus listeners are probably more in the know than anyone else on Earth on Rita Hart now, more prepared to vote for her or not this fall
In the most blue district in Iowa.
than any other Iowa residents.
Yeah.
And thank you once again to Rita Hart's daughter, our good friend Stella, for joining us today.
Yeah, I mean, I have to vote for her. She's my mom, but you guys have a choice.
Yes, thank you for shedding some light on...
Thankfully, I don't have to make that choice.
Yeah. Actually, I guess I do have a positive spin since I just said everything's pointless. Over the weekend, I did send off like 5,000 or so texts for Senate candidate Kimberly Graham, who is by far the best.
Yep.
So if you are able to, I know a lot of us are stuck inside doing nothing a lot of the day now. Check out Kimberly Graham's website. There's
Running
links.
for a very winnable seat against Joni Ernst.
Yeah. And I think she's there's not a lot of polling yet in this Democratic primary. Well, I mean, it's almost over, so there probably isn't going to ever be much polling for this. But I think it looks like it's going to either be Kimberly Graham or Teresa Greenfield, and Kimberly is like much better. Like she's not accepting a bunch of corporate money for one. Unashamed, Medicare for all, single
She's
payer
the real deal.
supporter. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you got time, it's pretty easy to send off 1 million texts for her. So I would encourage anyone who is able to give that a shot. So that's all for today. Anybody got anything else to throw in?
I do not.
No.
All right.
I think I got my rants off.
Yeah. We've exhausted all of our points. We got all our takes in.
Oh, I have one last take. If you think Rita Hart's website is bad, you should look at the website for the city she lives in, Wheatland, Iowa. It's also really bad. It's worse.
Check it out, Wheatland, Iowa.
Wheatland, Iowa,
It's
established when
Wheatland,
Iowa
.org.
actually grew wheat.
Yeah.
We are not a wheat people.
We're
Yeah.
corn people.
We are a corn
Soybean,
people.
pork.
and since we've done multiple callbacks to
Not
it,
wheat.
check out the Rock Hard Caucus Patreon, patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. The latest toxic feminine mystique episode with Stella and Natalie is very good. They talk a lot about wheat in that. So if you enjoyed the last few seconds of today's episode, you'll also enjoy the toxic feminine mystique episode 5.
So there is 1% wheat content and 99% sex content. So please be aware if you're coming for the wheat, you're going to have to wait.
Yeah.
The one person who is excited about the
Yeah.
wheat.
Oh, I can't wait
It's
to
like-
hear what they have to say about wheat.
Oh no. 2 ladies talking about sex? Fuck.
The people hate it.
Yeah. Too fast, too furious, too toxic, too feminine.
That's the aforementioned Iowa farmer chewing on a wheat from the old episode. You
I
remember that?
forgot
That
about
was-
I remember that, yeah. I remember every time I said something dumb on the podcast, so basically the entire history.
Chewing on the wheat is not dumb.
No, that was a good one.
That was incredible.
Okay, before we ramble on any further, this has been Rock Hard Caucus. Thank you for listening. Good night. The end.
The end.
Finn.
For a walk on a stalk of weed, and it felt like 1,000,000,000,000 feet. I was looking for a friend at the end of the line, and it took me till the end of time. I was all out of luck, like a duck that died. I was all out of juice, like a moose denied. I was all out of money, like a bunny that's broke. I was all out of work, like a jerk who's a joke. And I was out of ideas, like I is. I was out of ideas.